Hi, everyone, and welcome to Hanging Out with Mad Mimi every Wednesday at 4 p.m. I'm so glad you could join us. I'm Mira.
And I'm Becca. And today our guest is actually Mad Mimi's very own co-founder and owner, Dean Levitt. Hooray. Hi, Dean.
Hello.
What's up? Thanks for joining us, Dean. Would you give us a quick intro to sort of what you do and what your role is here and how stuff works?
Yeah, sure. So I feel, I guess we can, I'll give an intro now, and then we can kind of go over some stuff once the stragglers come in as well. I think we're a little bit early, right?
We are,
A
yeah.
little bit, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, for those who are here, I am Dean. I'm one of the owners, and really what I do at Mad Mimi is pretty much anything that has to do with you guys. So anything that is customer based, anything that is readers, any marketing, promotions, design, strategy, whatever. I wear a lot of hats here at Mad Mimi. I guess my official title is Chief of Culture, which I always feel slightly embarrassed saying out loud, but it looks totally cool on paper.
That's
So
true.
yeah, that's me.
Cool. Yeah, I guess if we're gonna work, we can hang out for a minute and wait for people to start filing in.
Yeah,
If
and it's
anybody-
also possible when you join to go back to the beginning. So if you did come on this page and it's in the middle of us talking, just rewind and you can start from the beginning and watch the whole thing.
I didn't even know that.
And if you'd like to ask Dean a question, there should be a Q&A button there on your screen. So just click that, and we'll get those questions to Dean, and he can answer them for you right away. Today, we're going to be talking about link placement in your emails and where are the best places to put them, what's the best way to word them, or just some interesting things that Dean has found over the years. And putting links in your email, as we all know, is super crucial. And so, Dean, I'm wondering if you can talk about sort of just the beginning of how do you go about deciding where to put links or how to put them in to your emails.
Sure. So the very first place to start when thinking about links is actually not to think about links just yet. It's a little bit counterintuitive, but the most important thing to do or to think about when you're thinking of the ideal link placement to get the most impact is to actually figure out what the goal of your newsletter is. So it makes sense when you say it like this. You should know what you want to do and then do it. The way it really comes down to this is that if you have a specific goal, and the goal could be something like I want to sell more T-shirts, or I want to get more people to read my blog post, which is often one of my goals. It could be anything. The key thing is to actually make sure that the goal is achievable and measurable. So my goal should not be something like I want to be super famous. The goal might be I want to get 10 more fans, something that you can measure a success point and something that you can measure a failure point if you don't quite reach it, and something that is achievable in small increments. So once you have your goal, once your goal is set, you can then start designing your newsletter to actually begin achieving that goal. So for example, if my goal is selling 10 more red shirts, just 10 more red shirts, very simple, very easy. What you don't want to do is then send out a newsletter filled with cool blog posts. That's very valuable and very interesting for your readers, but it's not going to actually get you any more sales of those red shirts. But what you do want to do is craft a newsletter that highlights how awesome your red shirt is, that discusses the amazing cotton and the fabric, and clearly up top, very easy to do, has it very easy to find and click and obvious, a link that says click here to buy my red shirt, or to buy your own red shirt, or whatever the best phrasing is. And so that's why setting a goal is the first step to actually figuring out the way to get the most out of your links and to select the best link placement.
Now, do you have any thoughts on creating that goal in general, or is that something that we should do another hangout on?
No, I do have some thoughts, but it probably is its own hangout in and of itself. But goals are super important for anything. If you have your own business, or if you're working for someone who takes their business seriously, having a goal is really step one. Having a goal actually allows you to know if you're doing well or not. You might think you can know well if you know you're doing well if you get 100,000 visitors to your website, but if your goal is to get readers and those 100,000 visitors are leaving right away, then you're not achieving your goal. So by setting a goal, you actually give yourself a measure of success. And if you have a measure of success, you can actually make constant small improvements to continue improving and growing your business. So if I'm an e-commerce store and I haven't set the goal of selling red shirts, I just want to sell things, well, it ends up being an unfocused newsletter campaign. You don't think about which products are most interesting to people. You're not thinking about how to maximize your newsletter space. You're not thinking how to engage on social media because you don't really know what you need to do beyond just the sort of vague sense of I want to succeed. So setting a goal is just vital, in my opinion. And the goal doesn't have to be super specific like red shirts, but you should really have a goal that is kind of specific. And the words I say is achievable and measurable. So your goal has to be something that you can achieve. So I want to be super famous is not an applicable goal, but I want to sell a handful more shirts is great, or I want to get a few more readers to the blog, or I want to get you guys all who are listening to send a newsletter. So that's a healthy goal that I can achieve, and measurable, so you actually can track whether what you're doing is working, failing, or super succeeding, which is also important. So, for example, if I haven't set a goal that is measurable, then everything's successful, or everything's a failure. But if I say, I want 5 people after this hangout to go and send a newsletter, then I can see, did 5 people go and send a newsletter? Yes, hooray, this works.
Right, having those metrics is really important.
Yeah, exactly. So you can track it. If someone doesn't send the newsletter, what I can do is I can say, well, why didn't they send a newsletter? Did I not help them? Where's the barrier? Where's the issue? And then I can go and work on that and improve that. And the same thing, it keeps tying back to links. If I want to sell more products, I want more click-throughs, I want more readers, by knowing what I want to do, it allows me to pick the right content. It allows me to pick the right call to action. It allows me to pick the right link placement. All of this hinges on setting an achievable and measurable goal. And then if people are not clicking through enough, then I know that either my goals are unrealistic or I need to make some changes and improvements, and then you can constantly improve and constantly grow.
Yeah, I'd say it's also important in terms of setting goals to make it easy for your reader to sort of tell what's going on. You know, I feel like I receive a lot of emails that just sort of, I can't tell what the point is, you know, and it doesn't really, I'm not going to sit there and try and take the time to figure out what exactly they're trying to say to me here, you know, so the clearer you can make it, the more focused, the easier it is for everybody. Yeah.
That's a really important point, and that comes back to the call to action. You never want to leave your readers in doubt as to what you want them to do next. Mm-hmm. So sure, and this is also another whole topic we can discuss in another hangout about providing value. Let's assume that your newsletters are interesting to your readers and are valuable to your readers and are, of course, opt-in, absolutely. But if you want to achieve your goal, say what the goal is. Say, click here to buy a red shirt. Click here to read my blog post. Sign up for this event. Whatever you want, you have to be absolutely explicit on what your goal, on what you want your reader to do next. Without that, you're leaving too much to chance, and you're not. You know, I try and avoid jargon, but that's the exact opposite of optimized. If you're not telling your readers what the next step is, you're not really optimizing your link in general.
Right. I find that making the link, if you have a statement, right, that says click here to do something, instead of just making the link the click here part, it's like if you include that entire action or that entire request in the link itself, it seems to, I don't know, have a little bit more actionable kind of punch to it.
It absolutely does. using a URL as a hyperlink is not really all that effective. And that's really a call to action. Is exactly that. It says do this. So making your link the entire phrase of click here to register right now, or click here to begin your program. Click here to download. You can even leave out the click here part. You can use your link to say download my ebook. It's a very effective call to action. It leaves the reader in no doubt what you want them to do, and it's compelling. It's just quite simply download my ebook, visit my blog, purchase a shirt, and you can get rid of the click here part, but that's what a strong call to action is. It says do this now.
Right. People want to be told what to do.
Right. So they certainly don't want to be left confused as to why on earth you're sending them that newsletter, and you can take it that step further and just make it a little bit more compelling to people. So I'm sure they can assume, they can probably figure out that if you're talking about your red shirt, they want you to buy that red shirt. But don't be subtle. Subtlety is no, you don't have to be a hard sell all the time, but you certainly shouldn't be subtle as to what your next step is.
Sure, as to what that actual action is.
Yeah. In terms of subtlety, and I'm trying to think of link placement here. Some people will lead their email right away with a giant link, or some people will write a description and sort of lead you into the story about it and then have the call to action. Do you think that the best placement for the actual link in the email is based on what you're actually talking about, or is there sort of one golden rule for link placement?
So there's exceptions that prove the rule, in my opinion. So if you're going to ask me where's the ideal link placement, I would say high. Put it high up, right away, visible, no doubt as to what you want them to do. And I actually have an example to show you shortly, but let's discuss what the fold is. And I'm going to do the air quotes, the fold. So the fold is, for those of you who don't know, is anywhere that your reader can't see unless they scroll. So above the fold is anywhere that your reader can see without needing to scroll. Below the fold is anywhere that they can't see, that in order to see they would need to scroll.
Right. It's almost like this imaginary dotted line that goes right underneath your screen. If you just open an email right there, then the fold is anything below that line on the bottom.
Exactly. So let's say you've set your goal, the link that helps you achieve that goal should be above the fold. So think about it like this. If you have 3 seconds of attention span from some of your readers, although I've heard, and I'm not entirely sure how this was calculated, but I've heard you've got an average of 8 seconds of attention span when someone opens your email. But let's assume 3 seconds just to be a little bit more extreme. You don't want them to go hunt out for any link. You want your call to action to be clear within those 3 seconds. So place your link up top. Now, if I'm going to set my goal, I actually like to place ideally 2 links above the fold that lead to the same goal. One would be a word URL, hyperlinked word, and the other one would be an image.
Oh, brilliant.
Nice.
Well, actually, I can show you guys an example. Let me do that right now.
Great. Yeah, and while Dean is looking for that example to show us, MadMimi can link both words and images, as Dean just mentioned, and it's a great way to get a variety of your links in there and to also put a variety of the same links. If you want to really push the same location and the same URL, you put it in an image, put it in text. It gives you that variety, and it's a nice way to sort of change it up.
Oh, lovely. There we go.
Here we go.
So can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Right, because I've got some pop-up, which I don't think you can see that's asking me to do this. But if you guys can all see my screen, then great, I'll do that later. So over here, you'll see this is an example. Now, these guys are amazing. They send to a fairly large list, which actually in general results in a lower click-through rate and a lower view rate, but these guys are way above the average in everything they do, which is why I'm using them as a great example. So you'll see here, they have some links here, although these aren't the main links. The two things that people click are this big banner image, which, as you see here, functions itself as a call to action, and this picture. So 35% and 57% clicks. So nearly 100% of all the clicks occurred up top, above the fold, and you can see here how impactful images really are. So the key thing here is that view the new lookbook now. This one is still clear. It's not the perfect example, but this is a phenomenal click-through rate, which is why I'm using it. But you can see here that there's no doubt for people what to do. The content itself is geared towards the goal of the email, and making images clickable high up, the first thing you can do, so by the way, make your banner images clickable, is going to really make a big impact. So let me actually, I think I may need to do a different screen share here. I'm going to go to this now. Can you guys see that?
I don't, oh, yeah, we go. Yeah.
Cool. So shows actually the links, the link hierarchy, if you will. So these weren't image links, these were all text links.
Oh wait, it went back away for me, at least. You still have it there? Sorry.
No, I'm seeing your face there.
Okay, let me see. I think. Oops. All right, let me get that back.
Please stand by for Hangout technical difficulties.
Okay, how about?
There we go. Lovely.
I think I was trying to zoom in and it possibly messed things up. But so these links here, it may not be terribly obvious depending on the size of your screen, but this is a list of links from top to bottom in an email newsletter that we sent a while back, and you can see here, this is from top to bottom, all text links. The first link, this was in the very first sentence, got 900 clicks, and the second link got 500 clicks, and this third link was right next to it, got also 400 clicks, then down by another 100, and then to 300. So you can see, as we go down, it goes from 900, nearly half of that, and then down by, from 500 to 300, down by nearly 200, and then it just plummets from there. So as you get lower down, we're talking single and double digits from triple digits, and there's some links below here that I just couldn't fit in, and those were 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. So you get an idea of the higher up your link, the more likely it is to be clicked. And that same kind of concept, I don't need to share my screen anymore, so I'm coming back. Hi guys. So the same kind of concept actually applies in a lot of other areas of your life. You don't put your navigation bar for your website at the bottom. You don't. Google has something like an 80% click-through rate on their top 5 results, and I mean that's huge. And then the rest is the first page, and then you're down to, single-digit percentage points on the second page. So you get an idea of how we all interact with things online. We don't hunt for ways to do things for businesses. We expect the call to action to be up top and immediately apparent.
Yeah, and sort of bringing that all together, the above the fold and linked images and higher is better than lower, or you see that significant drop off as you go down, is your banner image, which we just sort of glossed over a little bit just now, but that banner image in your email is right up at the front. It has the image of your company, your logo, your branding, whatever it is. Just make it clickable. Gotta always have that thing clickable.
Right. So we did talk about an exception, and one of the highest click-through rate senders that we have is a school, and every month the headmaster writes a long email. It's It's very newsy about the school and his thoughts and musings on the school, and then there's a link to click at the bottom that's way below the fold. And to me, that's the exception that proves the rule, but it does track back to the goal. Your goal is going to really define your design and what your link is. And so his goal is informative, it's information, it's helpful to the parents of the kids at the school. He's got essentially a captive readership, so he has a little bit more luxury to leave that link down there at the bottom. But if you keep in mind that your content still always is king. So if you're providing value, you're going to get readers. And if you have more value behind that click, you're going to get people ready to click that, regardless of where you place it. But we're talking optimizing your link placement, put it up top.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about sort of the value of clicks, and in terms of, especially in terms of the wording of the call to action, do you find that there's like a type of wording that gets more clicks that don't end up doing much, and a call to action wording that might get fewer clicks but more valuable clicks? You know, people who are more interested and more interactive versus just the number of people who click?
That's an awesome question. That's very tricky to answer. So, you know what? The answer is yes. There is some differentiation there, but it's less to do with the wording of the click and more to do with the landing page. So you've got to back up what your click says. So if you say, click here to download my ebook, but the landing page is to your home page, and they have to then go look around for your ebook, you're going to have really lousy actual. Let's call them conversions. Conversions always sounds so super marketing-y, but for our purposes, let's just accept conversions can simply be read my blog. It's still a conversion, or as some analysts call it, a micro conversion, but whatever, it's whatever you assign value to, fine. So you have to make sure that your link is leading to the right place. It's leading to somewhere that helps you achieve your goal. So if you say, purchase a red shirt, it shouldn't go to your homepage where they have to go search for a red shirt. It should go directly to the purchase, select your size place. If you want people to read your blog, don't go to your homepage, go to the blog. And if you are someone who has the ability to create landing pages on your site, or you use a tool like Lead Pages, which helps build landing pages, then what you can do is you can craft specific landing pages for your call to action and see how they do, and make these adjustments. And again, you get into analytics and see, well, I'm getting 500 people clicking through, but only 10 people actually take the next step. So maybe the issue is not the link, the issue is the landing page. And that's really where I draw your attention to. So, you know, it's so easy to overthink this stuff, though. So definitely go incremental. You don't have to make sweeping changes all at once. You can really, but again, it tracks back to your goal. Set your goal, have your link help your customers achieve that goal with you, and make sure that the link leads to somewhere where you yourself, if you were clicking that link, would say, oh yeah, this is obviously the right place for it to land.
Yeah, I think sort of walking through it with your customer in mind is, I don't know any of this. And sort of clicking those links and seeing, just trying to step back away out of your perspective will probably help you do that and see if it makes sense from the customer perspective.
For sure, for sure.
All right, so we've had a lot of buzz around here lately about the new Canadian legislation that's going into effect, and we've been helping folks send out reconfirmation emails with links in them. And so that's a slightly different context, but still completely viable for folks to be doing. And we have them using our link to list feature to do that, so that when folks click, yes, I want to stay on your list, they get put into a special list in their audience. So is there anything specific to that context, or any advice that's specific to that context that you could share with us? Or do you think that it's, or are some of the previous things you said especially relevant?
They are especially relevant because that's a perfect goal, right? You say, I want people to confirm their subscription, so that's your goal. The thing is that there is some design considerations there. So if you want people to read your blog, you want them to click yes, I want to stay on your list, they get put into a special list in their audience. So maybe the issue is not the link, the issue is the landing page. And It's not so much the link wording at this point, although the link wording is important, but we've covered that. Say what you want. Confirm your subscription is the perfect wording for that. But what I have seen people do, which I think is a little bit, it adds a little bit of barriers, I should say, is we go back to the 3-second concept.
Mm-hmm.
In 3 seconds, will they get it? Is your reader going to know that they need to confirm in order to continue receiving your emails? So the problem is that I'm seeing some people add in a thick amount of text, and then down below, sometimes just at the top of the fold, sometimes it's below the fold, the confirm your subscription link. And to me, that's not the right way to go about it. I would have one sentence at the most before going into confirm your subscription. Make sure that in 3 seconds they have no doubt that they need to take action right now, otherwise disaster happens. And then you can go into it a little bit more below that confirm link and say stuff like, we'll be sending you this kind of content, we'll be very respectful of your email address.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where link placement matters, but it's really less about the link placement and more about the surrounding content. Don't be wordy. Just be direct, obvious. Here's what you need to do. And the good point of reference there is the typical double opt-in concept where people sign up for a newsletter and then they go to confirm. Everyone's received some version of that email. Those are all simple. Those are all one sentence, and they're easy. And again, your subject line is important as well. So make sure that your subject line clearly states that this is an important email to continue receiving emails. We need to confirm your subscription, something like that.
Right. So simple, direct, to the point, logical.
Right. It's common sense, but people's gut says fill the newsletter with stuff. Right. You don't have to. A newsletter can be wicked simple.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So we have a question here for you, Dean, from Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
She asks, is there an optimal maximum number of links? Maybe you could...
Yeah. Yes and no.
That one.
It comes back to your goals, right? So you can see, you saw in my example where I did that hierarchy, there's a lot of links there. Did I care if anyone clicked anything beyond the 5th link? Not one bit. If you yourself say, I don't mind if people don't click these links at the bottom, I'm including it for the 10 readers who might care about that. That certainly is something for, say, bloggers or e-commerce folks who have a lot of content to share. If you are okay with people ignoring the stuff at the bottom, then fine, you can have as many links as you want. If you want if you set your goal, I'd say that's really going to define how many links is worthwhile. But, there's very few situations in which you need 20 links, and actually anyone's going to click all 20 beyond a handful at the bottom. So if you have 20 things that people need to know and click through to, you might want to consider actually sending more emails regularly than, I'm assuming if you've got that much content, you might be sending once a month. You might want to think of sending weekly with 5 items rather than monthly with 20. So there's ways around it. There isn't an exact optimal amount. There used to be some delivery concerns, but I don't believe that that's the case anymore. And it used to be kind of cautioned about more than 10 or 20 links, but I don't think that. I think that Google and Yahoo, etc., have gotten a lot more sophisticated and look at overall reputation than stressing so much out about the actual content itself.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So yes, no is the answer. Sorry, Kelly.
Right.
Lovely. All right, so I think that's about time for today. So I guess thanks everybody for watching. We're here every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, so feel free to join next week. Dean, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to drop in before we head out?
Guys, feel free to reach out to me, dean@madmimi.com. I'm happy to answer any questions. Just let me know. And you guys know Becca and Mira and the whole team is always around to answer any questions, whether it's how do I make my banner clickable, or if it's I'm a handyman, what's the right kind of content I should be using? Whatever the question is, just feel free to reach out. I'm very happy to chat to you guys and brainstorm.
So it looks like we can actually continue the conversation, Dean, if you'd like, because I just got another question.
Okay.
From Gabriel, and he asks, what's your advice about cleaning up a list by deleting subscribers that have not opened an email in the last 6 months?
Okay, so the advice is definitely do indeed clean up the list. You can always work with anyone on our support team to help find those specific people if you need help isolating your viewers and your non-viewers. But I think what you should do is separate those two lists. Separate your engaged people and your non-engaged people. And again, the support team at MadMe can help do that for you. And then send a final email to those non-responsive folks and say, hey guys, we're going to stop sending emails, just last chance to confirm. And you can kind of rejuvenate your engagement with them. You're going to have to really pay attention to your subject line, make sure it's super compelling, because these are people who usually don't pay any attention to you. So you've got to make sure they pay attention to you this time. And you might want to incentivize as well a little bit to say, hey guys, confirm that you want to keep receiving the emails, and we will, I'm wary of giving like a monetary incentive, but it can be like, I'll send you a handwritten thank you note. Something, it doesn't have to be money. 10% off of an item is a very easy thing to suggest. If you heard Chris's hangout last week, he talked about different incentives there. But incentivizing that, but sending that one last try is a good idea. I think it's worth it. You're not going to get amazing results for obvious reasons, but it's still worth it. And the long-term benefits of keeping a list clean far outweighs the anxiety at losing people. You pay less, and most importantly, you retain an amazing delivery reputation, whether you use MadMe or use anyone else. You can change services, you can stick with a service, but you'll maintain good delivery because you've been a good sender.
So maintenance, we give a big thumbs up to. If you're ever interested in doing something like that, ask us. And we have help docs as well that we'll share on the YouTube comments as well as the Hangout comments. With everything we mentioned here, we'll put links to all those docs for you guys. Yeah, so thanks for joining us, Dean.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for inviting me on.
All right. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.